building the bottom tip of the butterfly, which means we're done making our sections. We build this thing next week. Hey, this is Carrie with Canary Quilts, and we are working on the Tula Pink Butterfly Quilt, and we've done all the blocks and we've done all the sections now. So all that's left after today is putting this together. And today we're working on section 7, 8, and 9. These aren't too hard to do. This one's real quick, but I show you how I iron seams because there's seams she doesn't show you how to iron, and I make some executive decisions on some other seams, so you can see how I do it, see if you want to do it that way. I show you which half square triangles to pull out. I did a numbering system back when I built these, and if you haven't seen that video, I'll link that up above, and you can watch that video and see how I numbered these, because now when I get to the sections, I just have to look for numbers. It makes it way easier instead of having to figure out the fabrics. So that's what I'm doing today. If you're new here, you can hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and you'll see this beautiful quilt go together, and all the other fun stuff. Oh, and I just did a Tula Pink quilt that I finished. I'll link that video up too. The Sunshine Daydream quilt, that turned out gorgeous. I'm gonna have box openings, and now that these two quilts are done, we're gonna be doing other fun stuff here too. And let's get started on our blocks. Our last week of sections, and next week we put this together. It's been a long road, but it has been a delight. So now we're putting together all these blue sections down here. It's broken into 3 different sections, and that would be section 7, 8, and 9, and they're not very big, so shouldn't take too much time. I'm gonna start with section 7 and pull you down to my mat, show you what we need, and start sewing it together. I can't believe we're so close. All right, this is section 7, and this was so easy to put together that I'm just going to run through it real quick for you. By this point, you're probably very well versed at putting these together. There's no seams to match, so I'm just going to kind of run through this real quick for you. So first off, we have our intersection block over here, and it's the teal one that we need. Then we have our small wheel we did in the teal color right here. And then we've got our number 17 half square triangles, which are the bottom 2 over here where my cursor is. And then we've got number 19 half square triangles right here where my cursor is. And then we're just going to have 2 large rectangles and 2 squares. So there's no seams to match. You're going to put together all your half square triangles right here with the square, and you're going to iron all these seams open. And then you're going to add it over here to this large rectangle, and you'll iron that towards the large rectangle. So you've got this entire section over here. So now we have 3 sections. We're going to add the half square triangle section to the small wheel, and we're going to iron towards the small wheel. And then we're going to take our intersection block and iron it towards the small wheel. And then we're done. So that's it. That's how easy it is to put together, and like I said, no seams to match. So very easy. Just wanted to run through it real quick, and then we're going to move on to 8 and 9 because they're a little more involved. I have all my pieces pulled for section 8 right here. This is the left, this is the right. And what we need is we need all of the pie wheels we made. So we had 3 colorways of pie wheels. We're going to need all of them. There will be 6 of them. We have 2 medium log cabins left. In these colorways, we will need all 4 of those, 2 of each color. We have 2 of the blue small log cabins, and we'll need both of those. And then for the half square triangles, if you're using my system, you'll need 19, 20, 23, 24 and 25. And then here's the background. And they're pretty, got some pretty long pieces here. We've got 2 of the long rectangles, 4 short rectangles, 2 kind of fat rectangles, and 2 really, really big rectangles. And that's what we need for our backgrounds. So let me get this laid out so you can see what it's gonna look like and how we're gonna put it together. Oh my goodness. I'm just getting so excited, I'm almost shaking. We're almost done. Okay, this one looks big, but it's just got a lot of bigger pieces in it, so it's not a lot of pieces. Looks like it's gonna be a square in the end. So we have our 3 pies laid out right here, like this. Then our 2 medium log cabins are up here, with the dark small square down here and the dark large square up here. Then we've got our small log cabin right here, so that the small square is in this corner. Then you want to take number 19, blue that we had left from last time, right here, and then I paired it with a rectangle background, small rectangle. Then 2 23s right here, and you can see they match that border. All your half square triangles are going to be pointing up to the top right. And so then we come down here. Oh, and at the bottom of this is that large fat rectangle. So then we've got 2 24s right here, and they match that. We've got a background, small rectangular background there, and then we've got our number 25 right here. So we've got that section, and then our large rectangle, and our large skinny rectangle, and number 20 right here. I have square triangles together first. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to do these, and I'm going to iron this open. I'm going to go here with these 2, iron this open. I'm going to come down here, I'm going to iron these open, and then I'm going to iron towards this background patch. So then I'm going to come down here, but I'm going to iron this open because this will be ironed open, and I just think it'll sit better. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my half square triangles put together. Okay, I got some of these sewn together, but I need to make a correction. I forgot to put this number 25 in here. So we've got our 24s, 2 24s, a 25, a background, and a 25. So when I was sewing it together, I'm like, this looks too short. I looked again, I forgot to put a 25 here. So this is how this row is going to look. So I'm going to iron this seam open, iron this seam towards the background. Then I'll come back and we'll show you how we're going to put it together. Oh my goodness, I have another correction. This big large rectangle goes over here. So don't forget that. Anyway, got all my half square triangles sewn together. Ironed towards the patch, ironed open. These 3 are ironed open. These 2 are ironed towards the patch. This one's ironed towards the patch. So what we need to do is we need to put these 2 together, and we need to put this one onto here. So only seam to match is right here. No seams to match over here. So we'll get these on. We're going to get these sewn, and this one doesn't say which way to iron it, so let's iron towards the log cabin. And then this one, the funny thing is this one says to iron towards all these half square triangles. That's gonna, I don't know. You know, and I think one reason is so you don't see these seams coming through the green, the light green, but you know what? When it's quilted, I really don't think it's going to make a difference. So that's why I think I'm going to iron towards this large rectangular background with this. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to get these sewn, we'll come back. Okay, got these put together. So this one's done. This one I need to add this section here. Let's iron this towards the patch, and then we need to put this on to here once we get this one on, and we'll iron towards this patch. This has been added right here, iron towards the rectangle. Now we can add this. Sorry about that, there's a truck outside. So we're going to add this to this, and there are no seams to match, and they want us to iron towards this top medium log cabin. So let's do that. So now that we have this piece done, we can add this piece, and no seams to match obviously, and we are going to iron towards the large background piece. So let's get this big old piece put on, and then we can put these squares together and get this half done and put the two halves together. Okay, I got this half done. Now we need to put our squares up here together, and I'm going to put them together in pairs like this. And so I'm going to iron this one towards the gray border block, and then I'm going to iron this one towards the polka dot border block. So then we'll have nesting seams here and here. So we need to match that center seam. Okay, so let's put these two together at that seam, and they will nest. Nest that center seam. We need to match up these two seams. And there is a seam here right in the middle you need to match up. Match the edges. And then we will be ironing towards the part that has the log cabin. Okay, we iron towards this top section. Now we can put the bottom part here on, and the only seams we have to match are in the center. So we'll match these up, and then we're going to iron towards the two wheels right here once we get this on. All right, we are ready to put our two halves together. So every one of these seams in these two log cabins are going to fit, are going to match. The center seams here and here are going to match, and then right here are going to match. So I'm going to start over here with the log cabin. Let's try right here and work this way. All right, I was gonna say that section 8 is done, but guess what I did? That is supposed to go up there. So I'm gonna have to take just this section apart, flip it, put it back together. So that's it. I guess I'm just getting so excited to finish this up. So make sure you get this flipped. This goes up here. I'm gonna fix it, and when I lay out I had it laid out correctly. I just probably didn't pin the side I was supposed to sew. Okay, I fixed it. Took about 2 Christmas songs, because I'm listening to Christmas songs. It's that time of year. So it didn't take very long, but I got it fixed. And here is the layout of the mirror image. So I did remember my 25, and I remembered my background piece over here. So exactly the same way, I'm going to put it together. sewing it or ironing it the way I did before, sewing the seams together where they need to be sewn. So I'm going to get this put together and I'll come back here and we can take a look at it. And then we're on to section 9. Oh my gosh. I really am getting very excited. I think that's why I made a couple mistakes. So sorry about that. Did correct myself. Pretty cool, huh? Well, you got to see me get so excited I made a mistake. And it wasn't a mistake. Well, it was, I guess. I didn't pin the side I was supposed to sew. So it took me, like I said, about 2 Christmas songs to fix. Because that's what I'm listening to right now. So there we go. That's all finished. Now we've got to do section 9. I'm getting excited. I really can barely contain myself. I'm getting so excited. Because section 9, when section 9's done, that means next week we're putting it together. We're going to have a butterfly next week. So, section 9 doesn't look too hard. It's right there. Throw all the rest of the pieces you got out on your table because that's all we need is just the rest of the pieces you have left. So I'm going to get those set up and meet you down at my table. Oh gosh, another correction. I got so excited I said dump all your pieces out. Yeah, we don't need the body yet. That's next week. Last piece is right there. So, this is what we need for 9. We need your blue floating crosses and your blue chunky cross, floating cross. And then you'll have 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22 half square triangles. And then we've got quite a few background pieces in this one. So we've got 4 of these small rectangles, 2 of these kind of medium rectangles, 2 of these chunky rectangles, 2 of the big rectangles, and 2 these are folded in half, really big pieces. So that's what we need for this one. Goodness gracious. Let's get it laid out. Let's see what it's going to look like. Hopefully I don't get too excited I lay it out wrong, but I don't think I will. And if I do, I'll correct it. Let me get it laid out and I'll come back here. Okay, it's so big. I laid it out in this direction here, and I'm working on the left. So up here we're going to have our floating cross with a number 19 and a small rectangle. Then underneath this whole section we're going to have 20, 21, 20, or 18 and 18. 20, 21, 18, 18. And then this background piece here, our floating cross with 22 and 21 underneath it. And then a 22 which needs to be turned this way. So all our half square triangles are going to be pointing up to the bottom right. A longer rectangle background, and then this is a pretty big piece, maybe hanging off the camera. Down here, and then our gigantic background piece back there. Again, just like I do on all the other ones, I'm going to start with my half square triangles. And I'm going to sew these 2 together, and I'm going to do this open because this is open. To iron this towards this section, I'm going to iron open because I want to iron this open. So I'm going to iron these open. These I'm going to get ironed open. And this I'm going to get ironed open. So all the half square triangles I'm putting together are going to be ironed open. So that's where I'm going to start, is with all these half square triangles. Okay, I've got my half square triangles sewn together and ironed open. So next we can iron these 2 together and these 2 together. Only seams to match are right here, and they're both ironed open. So we can do that. And we will iron towards this background. And let's iron this one open. So, okay, I've got both these ironed. Iron that open, iron this towards the background. Now I can attach this to this, and all 4 of these seams are going to match up. And then we can put these two together. No seams to match up. So now all we have to do is attach this right here at this seam. Then we can put this side together and put it onto that. So match these seams up, match edges up, and we're going to iron towards this background right here, the strip. All right, so now we got to start putting these three together, and we're going to iron all towards this bottom piece. So we've got just the center seam to line up. And of course, no seams to iron on or to match up here. So we will get this lined up, we're going to sew it on, and we're going to iron towards this big background piece. So this piece was ironed towards the center piece was ironed towards the bottom. So now we just add this big old background to what we just did. Line up those edges, and we are going to iron towards the big background piece. So I'm going to get this pinned on, sewn on, ironed, and I'll meet you back here with it done. There you go, there's section 9. Not too hard to put together. Just some big pieces. So let's lay out our mirror image. We'll get that ready to go, and my goodness, we'll be done. It's just unbelievable. We'll be done. So let me do that. We are ready to put this together. Can you even believe that? I can't. I still can't. I get like this every time. Every time I do a quilt, I still can't believe I'm to the point that I'm putting this together. So these weren't too hard. The number 8 was a little more intensive, but not too bad. And again, I've got a link down below for my half square triangle numbering video that I did, if you're wondering about that. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button, notification bell. Check out the links below. We've got a link to the pattern and the fabric kit. And if you like what you see here, hit the thanks button down below. I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, next week we put it together. So I'm going to throw a picture up right now of what all the sections look like that we did, since they were so big. You can